why go back to the office? Why go back at all? When the likes of Martin Sorrell is quoted in the FT from 1st of May, about a month ago, as saying, I spend 35 million on property in a year. I'd much rather invest that in people than expensive offices. So why go back? Tom, you've been helping businesses find office spaces in the city for what, 30 years? I've been doing it for about 6 years now. If people don't need to go back to the office, are we out of a job, Tom?
Well, hopefully not, and thank you for starting off with an easy one. I think that this is going to be a fascinating time where everybody will have to adapt, and as a social experiment working from home where everybody's being forced to do it, I think we've probably moved on years in months in doing that. Now, I think firstly I would say that there are a number of points I just briefly want to go through. But interestingly, this morning in Jefferies, the investment bank, published something that was in the Times that said going forward on a survey they'd done, 35% of staff would prefer to work at home 3 or 4 days of the week than going in full time. And I'm not really surprised about that. I think this has kind of changed the way we think about the office. But it's interesting that effectively 65% actually do still want to go into the office. And that's, the other side of flipping the figure. And I think the reasons for that are numerous. Having a meaningful social connection is obviously part of this. People are social animals. They like to communicate. They like the camaraderie. They enjoy the relationships they build with friends. And a business is a collaborative endeavor. Not everybody is suited to sitting at home all day or starting a business on their own. Inclusion is very much part of it. And the office is a vehicle for that. It's a vehicle for motivation, for training, for learning, and learning from experienced colleagues. So I think that is very clear. And also staff, they need competition, targets, they have aspirations, as everybody does. And I do get the sense that, if kind of coordinated working from home can dilute that.
Right.
I think furthermore, that staff well-being can be adversely affected by working at home, partly because it can breed isolation, but I think people like the community and the feeling of togetherness and corporate bond. And also, not everybody has the right environment at home for productive work. They might have young children rushing around. It might be a small flat. I think this also has probably a much bigger impact on Generation Z than older people.
Agreed, definitely.
And I think employers have a duty of care to their staff to look after them, make sure they're okay. It's very difficult to gauge how someone really is feeling over Zoom. So I think that's important. There obviously are kind of key corporate reasons, and business successes, do rely on harnessing and nurturing talent. And an attractive office as a base helps talent thrive, but also it helps recruit new talent, and again has that kind of feeling of belonging. I think all of that feeds into the culture of a business, which is a very important part. It motivates people. It also helps them want to get out of bed in the morning, and I think that is important because then that feeds into brand. So if one is considering, what is your business, it's not just the staff, it's very largely that. It's not what the business does, it is partly the environment that it's in. And I think all of that also helps create loyalty from staff as well. And then I think, the bigger picture is obviously all of this feeds into corporate kind of momentum. And ultimately, I think the test of this experiment is whether people have worked effectively and how that feeds into productivity, profitability, and business generation. Certainly in our business, face-to-face communication and contact is vital to create and reinforce trust with our clients. And again, I think that gets diluted and lost over kind of social media and over platforms like Zoom. But used constructively, they obviously still work. So I think that all these things will change, and ultimately the office will evolve and be influenced by the financial success. But I think all these things feed into it. So yeah, I definitely think we will still you'll still have a job, Nick. We'll still need an office.
Thank you. That's reassuring.